All right, so this is the frame of the ATV rack that's going to go between that red shelf and that gray shelf. It's 12 by 6 foot. We're going to cut the 6 foot sections and do 16 on center so that we can bolt up the So the floor wasn't perfectly level. Obviously, that's the best we can do. So I'm gonna pull these out, get these a little more flush, so the decking will go on nicer. Alrighty, so we got the decking all complete, or the frame, I should say. And I'm thinking I'm gonna throw center supports all the way across, and then probably box out the corners where the posts are gonna go, add a little bit of rigidity. So yeah, I was measuring, tallest thing I really want to fit in here is probably the 250R underneath there. So with the 5.5 inch 2x6, this measured out at 46, so we'll just call it 52. So I'm gonna make 4 of those and see what it looks like stood up. All right, so even with that junky little tape measure, we did pretty good. I'm gonna bolt these up next and see what it looks like stood up. Alrighty, so we got standing on all 4, thanks to this little wood clamp. I didn't even really have a plan, I just stared at it. It was sitting right next to me, so I kind of looked out on that, but yeah, got it all together. We'll square up the feet once we get it in place. Do some supports, probably do some triangulation with some 4x4s on here for each foot. We'll do 2 of them. Box these in, do some center supports, and then it's time for decking. See if this thing actually holds some weight. Stay tuned. All right, so I want to make some corner supports with the 4x4s. Couldn't really pick an angle, wasn't sure how to do it, so I just started with a 45 on the end. So moving this up and down, I'm gonna get this situated so it's nice and flush. And the idea is I'm gonna trim it flush with that so it sits right on that ledge there. All right, so here's my idea. I got that cinched up at the bottom, used a 45. I'd like some of that 4x4 to touch that 2x4 so we can secure it into place, get a nice joint from 290s. That'll add some strength. If you can't tell, I don't really know what I'm doing as far as carpentry. I just kind of bugger stuff together, try and make it strong, and that's what we're going to accomplish here today. So the plan is we're going to cut this cut right here. That will allow us to slide this up and down. I'd like to get another 4 inches down on that and get a nice support for each corner, and copycat that 8 more times.
Alright, so now we got the 45 cut on both ends. We're going to slide this up and down so it fits nice and fits flush against this 2x4 and the 2x6. Now we got both cuts. We're going to slide this up and down where we were until we get this flush inside of here.
Alright, so I finished all the supports. Pretty happy with it. I'm no light guy. I weigh 265 pounds and I was jumping around the middle of it. It's just fine. So one thing I didn't like, the plywood, you know, was lining up decent, but it was pretty hard to get a good bite with two overlapping on a 2x4. So I'm gonna double up on the seams with the 2x4 so we get good contact and good support for the edges of the plywood. So just gonna do the next one as well. Start tacking these down and it's about a wrap. Plywood's starting to go on. Just gotta cut one more piece. Look at this nice piece of wood. Frickin' potato chip. That's what you get. And you pay extra for that nowadays. Decent piece of wood. Crappier. Horrible. What Alrighty, ATV rack complete. About 500 screws, $250 of lumber, about 300 bucks all together. Got one hell of a rack, and it looks halfway decent too. Look at that, not bad. And I won't have more than 12 or 1500 pounds up here. This will totally hold. So let's see, it took me about 5 hours to build that. All right, so everything's back in the garage. We got a little bit of room to work with, but majority of this stuff underneath can go on top. I just need to find a place for the bicycles. And yeah, we're getting there. So hopefully we should have this, you know, a whole bay and a half when we get more stuff up on the rack. That was a fun project. Just out of gas today. Wait for part 2 when we get it fully loaded. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to 2 Acres.